When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and today we are talking all about how to be a master connector. I'm telling you right now, the way to success is building relationships. Always will be, always has been. It is still the future. It's not just text messages and, email blasts, the spray and pray type of method that so many people use. And we're going to talk a lot about that today with our guest, Janice Porter. But before we get to our guest today, I would like to thank our sponsor of today's show, The Adventures of Julie Jones. Are you overwhelmed and overworked with a never-ending to-do list? Do you constantly feel tired because life seems hard and your needs are nowhere near the top of your priority list? As an adventure and breakthrough coach, Julie Jones will support you in life that is easy, effortless, and most of all, fun. Stop spending time on the have to in life and start truly living a life of I get to. What are you waiting for? Take action and go to www.juliejones.biz and book a free 30-minute Live Out Loud call with Julie. She's the only person I know that lives out that loud. I'm telling you right now. Stop Waiting and Start Living event in Arizona is actually on November 4th and 5th. It's coming up pretty quick here. And you can check out more and grab your tickets at stopwaiting.biz. It's going to be a blast. I'm also one of the sponsors of that upcoming event. So you will get to meet me in person as well if you come to that event. I put Julie in my life on purpose so I could have more fun. And I have lived my life more purposefully. I've had way more fun since I've injected her into my life. So I'm going to encourage you to check out her website, juliejones.biz, and grab your tickets for you can have 2 days of fun. We all deserve it, don't we, Janice?
Absolutely.
Yes, we do. Well, let me tell you about our guest today. Janice Porter is a master networker and a huge connector. She trains business professionals how to leverage the power of LinkedIn to build relationships and generate qualified leads. Did you guys get that? Generate qualified leads. She also shows them how to nurture those relationships using an online business tool that sends real cards and gifts in the mail. Love it. I use it all the time. And Janice introduced me to it. She has a weekly podcast called Relationships Rule, on which she interviews like-minded professionals, those who see the value in relationship marketing. Janice values her relationships and is always looking for ways to be of service for others. Janice, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Colleen. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Janice and I have been together now for how long have we known each other? A couple of years, maybe? Are we somewhere around there? Janice is part of the LEAP community. She really dives into not only self-development through the book clubs and reading, but she just pours into other people. This is just from my perspective and really cares. I can't even count how many cards or postcards or gifts I've received from Janice. She very much stays top of mind. And Janice, when did this all begin for you? There had to have been a transition or a pivotal time in your life where you went from maybe not being as much of a connector and then, or you always have been and have found success in it. And you thought, man, if I teach other people how to do this, then that ripple effect, right? That we can all affect, our relationships and being kinder to other people and showing how much we respect and care.
Well, I think it does go back a long way because I'll tell you a quick story that my high school friends, who are still my friends today, there's 4 of us, and we're still really, really close. And when we started planning high school reunions, like 20, 30, 40-year reunions, showing my age, every time we were doing this, and I was always one of the people, of course, that was organizing it because I remembered people's names. And so to this day, those girlfriends of mine will say, just ask Janice, she'll know, right? Because that's who I was, the person who remembered other people's names. And sometimes to the embarrassment of the other person. So I would always like to tame it down. So people were always that way important for me. And I think I got it from my mother, because she would talk to anybody, everybody on the street, and go away on vacation and send postcards to the butcher. Like, honestly, that was my mother. And so I think it comes naturally to me. However, when I started working on my own, as opposed to being an employee, I had to start networking, because first of all, networking was a thing then. It just started in the early 2000s. And I realized the power of getting my name out there. And so I would go to these chamber events and local networking events, eventually BNI and that kind of networking event, and realized how important it was to use the time there valuably and to make it work for you. So I guess long answer, but yes, it's been a while. I've been doing it a lot. And a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see the fruits of that labor. I was just having a conversation yesterday with a good friend, Carrie Connolly, and we were talking about how you can build new websites, you can build new pages, you can do all these, elaborate things, and we all need them. I understand that. But that doesn't drive people to your website, right? There has to be something that initiates them to want to look you up, right? Did they see you somewhere? That's why we focus a lot on in the LEAP community on visibility. And then did they really like what you had to say? Did they like your demeanor? Are they attracted to your personality? Then they go check you out and drive to your website. But no one really just goes to your website and says, yes, I want her to be my business coach. Click, and sign up. In fact, there's not even a place on my website that anyone can just pay to hire me as a business coach, because it's about a relationship, right? That we have to have. And I think it's kind of a lost art. People want these transactions, Janice, to happen very, very quickly. They get very frustrated when they meet someone and they want to sell a product to them and they can't sell a product to them in one meeting. They get frustrated and they give up, and then they don't follow up. So what would you say to a person who had that feeling, right? They're frustrated. They're frustrating because they're networking. They're frustrating because they're doing all the things, but they're not, the transactions aren't happening for them.
Well, first of all, I think that kind of selling has gone by the way of the dodo bird a while ago. I think people have been talking about relational selling as opposed to transactional for a while. Selling from the heart. Larry Levine, friend of mine, been on my podcast. He talks about the empty suit. That's the old way of doing things. And I think that the people that go to those events, whether they're online or offline, and think that they can just shove their card in someone's face or, sell them something, they're not sincere. They're not authentic. And people have to know, they have to look at what would they want. Do you want to be sold to that way? No, you want to feel comfortable and confident that the person that you are going to do business with is of like mind, and, it feels right. At least for me, it's a gut feeling. It's like you have to know. And that takes a little bit of time. Now, granted, the time can be shortened if you know how to do it properly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm finding that actually today on LinkedIn, because I've started a bit of an experiment in a way. I'm doing 2 outreach campaigns. One is to new people, and it's I'm so sorry. One is to new people who I'm using a certain way of messaging with them. And the other campaign is to my over 4,000 connections that I'm reconnecting with. And I'm having real success with that one. And what it's doing is it's building calls with people and reconnecting and revisiting things, and things are happening from that, as well as businesses coming from the new connections as well, and in a shortened amount of time. But they're liking what I'm saying, and we're starting a conversation, and then we take it offline.
Yeah. I like that you said that. Let's talk about that for a minute, because many business owners that are entrepreneurs that you and I come in contact with, they keep spreading the net wider and wider and wider. They want new people, right? So they just keep trying to reach more and more and more people. It's very expensive, by the way, everybody, to keep reaching more and more and more people. Time, energy, money to keep spreading it wide. What if we were to look at who we've got in our vicinity already today, like you just said, the over 4,000 contacts you have in LinkedIn. And then now they're already connected to you. So it's not foreign of you reaching out to them brand new. So they could be skeptical. And now you're having these conversations of building it. That's what I really feel is a key of being a master connector. First of all, you reconnect with the people that you have. And then what is the next step, would you say? The follow-up, follow through, the sincerity, the authenticity? Talk to us about what it means, because you're a master connector, Janice. So tell us, what does that mean?
I actually had two things happen or one particular thing that fits this topic just happened the other day. In fact, no, it wasn't on the LEAP community. It was on another networking event that I go to. I met this girl. She came as a guest. I didn't really speak to her in a breakout room. I just jotted down her name because I was interested in what she did. I went out and I reached out to her on LinkedIn and just said hi. And she wanted to have a conversation. So that was easy. Like, I met you here. Let's have a chat. So we booked a Zoom call. We had a really nice Zoom call. She's got a new book coming out. She needed some help with LinkedIn. I kind of gave her a couple of ideas. And I said to her, because of the nature of her book, I said, have you ever heard of, and I'll give this tip out here because there's some people that might find it useful. Have you ever heard of HARO? It's called Help a Reporter Out. Have you heard of it, Colleen?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So for some industries, it's very useful. So what it is, basically, reporters are looking for people to quote, and they're looking for things for articles that they have to do research on and so on. And so in about 2 weeks later, this week, I got a message from this girl. She said, oh my gosh, I now am, quote, can say I'm in Forbes. I'm in Forbes because she was part of this article that she sent something by email to answer a question. She's got like this much of a paragraph in Forbes magazine online article. I saw it. She's so excited. And she said, and that was all because of you connecting me with that. So it's this reason I tell that story is because whether you're connecting people or you have an idea for that person, you're giving you're helping them with nothing in return is being asked for. Okay. Nothing. I just liked her and I thought that it was good. Now, at the end of that conversation, in the message she sent me, she said, by the way, I haven't forgotten. I'm going to come back to doing LinkedIn training when I've got my book launched. And I didn't say anything about it. It's just a planted seed when I gave her, that was another thing. I gave her free information to help her tweak her LinkedIn without any real need to do anything else. And so people remember when you do nice things for them. People remember. And then I had another instance where one of those reconnection emails, I didn't really know this woman that well, but I knew that she had a lot of influence and a big list and had been a big networking trainer over the years because I followed her. So she reached, when I sent this email, she responded with, oh, I'd love to chat, blah, blah, blah. So we did. And in the conversation, she told me about the work she's doing now, which is really interesting. And she's helping people, women of color to get more visibility, get more notice, whatever. In fact, you might like to talk to her. She's quite interesting. And I thought of this woman that I had met who is a Native American woman who's doing amazing work. And I connected the two of them. And she ended up giving this Native American woman a scholarship to this program she's doing. And I felt so good about that. Mm-hmm. And so, that always just makes you feel good when you're able to make things work for people and connect them. It doesn't take much. It just takes listening and caring and being authentic, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just going to say, not forcing it. It has to happen for me naturally.
Yeah, I like that. So what it's coming down to is being a master connector isn't all about you. It isn't all about you being this master connector and connecting with these other people, which in turn brings you all your sales. You're saying what I do is being a master connector is really several different legs, which is me not only connecting with people, but then I connect those people with other people or things or places or events based on listening to their needs and what it is that they're looking for.
I brought people to the LEAP community on that very same thing.
Yeah.
In having that initial conversation with somebody and saying, if you're not networking, in too many places, this may be a place for you. Why don't you come as my guest? Now, I don't, what was I going to say? I don't do that for everybody. It has to feel right for me, for them.
Yeah, it has to be the right person. I've connected in a lot of other women's groups, and some of the women that I have met, like I'll meet someone out of the blue and I'm like, I really feel like we need to share your story and we need to get you on an interview. So I'll offer them one of my slots on a podcast or, a Member Monday Spotlight or something like that. And they're not a member of the community, but I feel so strong about needing to share something. And I'm willing to give that to them and give them a platform without anything in return. I'm not going to say, oh, you want to be on my platform? Here's my link. You got to sign up for my community, and then put my hands up in the air and walk away and say, it's up to you if you want to sign up or not, but you don't get visibility unless you do. I don't do business that way, and
it doesn't feel right to do that. No. It leaves a bad taste in someone's mouth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say most people that I attract that are in my community, that are my clients, are that way. I wouldn't attract somebody who didn't want to work in that way. And, many of the women that I work with, they're, for you, the ones you work with, they're really looking to attract more clients as well, right? I mean, that's their whole deal. That's what we all do in some fashion or form. And for my clients and for the LEAP community, with all my years of experience, it was always about visibility. If you're the world's best kept secret, no one's going to do business with you. I really look at several different companies out there that, had the upper edge of how they were doing things. And the problem is they just were unwilling to change. Blockbuster's a great example of that, right? This is the time where we're not transactional selling anymore. You're not just throwing it out there and people are buying it right and left. There has to be relationships built, and those take time. Those take time to build those relationships, but I would way rather, and I have had people come back to me a year after I've met them and said, hey, Colleen, I'm coming back around to you. I'm joining the community. I'm ready now. Okay. Right? Yeah. Timing is everything. And someone might not be ready for you today. Or I think it's important for us to say, Janice, because every person that works with us as entrepreneurs needs to make an investment, right? They're not working with us for free, and they need to make an investment. And not everyone at the time that they are meeting you or in your vicinity and, getting to know you, the know, like, and trust factor, are ready to make that investment. And they might say, I'm not ready to make that investment, but that just might be where their mindset is at the moment of they're not seeing the value of,
right.
And has nothing to do with you. I always tell people it has nothing to do with you. You're spectacular. You do not lower your prices. Everything you do it's great. And just, you need to understand that you're not going to get every single client. You're not the potential client that's there. It's not going to happen. And I think rejection's just part of the process. I was telling a client the other day, I'm rejected like every week, at least once. Right. And they're like, huh? And I said, yeah, I talk with a lot of people and they'll say, oh, I can't make the investment right now, or I'm not ready right now. And that's saying that they're not ready they don't believe in it. They don't believe in themselves that they're going to be able to reach those goals. Right. So talk to me about that.
Well, I remember somebody, one of my mentors, saying that when we're talking about I am statements and things like that, and he used to say that it's not that I'm not ready or that his statement was to keep it in a positive way. I choose to invest my money in another place right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very true but we don't admit it, in that we're just, you said it, we haven't found the value yet. It's not there for us, or it's maybe, not the right time. It's one of those two things.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say is, from what we were talking about, is that the law of reciprocity is really interesting, and it's really there. So when you give somebody with nothing in return, it's not necessarily going to come back from them, but something's going to happen in return. And if you don't, right? And that's that's so important to know. Also, and especially when somebody's rejected you because it's not the right time, you need to love on those people, and you need to thank them for giving you the opportunity. And I use an example when I'm dealing with realtors or mortgage brokers and showing them send out cards, because they feel that quite often, they make a sale, particularly realtors, and they've done the deal, they're gone. They're gone until the next time. Well, there won't be a next time if you don't stay in touch with people, and if you don't show that you care. Because I tell the story of a friend of mine bought and sold 3 houses in 15 years, and he used a different realtor every time. Why? Because none of them stayed in touch. Yeah. And so you need to love on people and show them that you care. So,
yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000% on that. So if you're that person sitting out there, and we're going to talk about send out cards in just a minute, that is like, how do I, nurture in business? Many years ago, I created, with the help of some other colleagues of mine, a touch points program within this company I was working for. I also went on to create gratitude programs and several other programs, but I can tell you that the Touch Points program was about how you are connecting and staying connected with even your current customers, and having touch points in there so that, people understand the progress of your children or whatever it was at that time, or your progress, or what are your touch points of how you're touching in with your clients, especially if they're in groups, right? In classes or groups or whatever it may be, and they're not having a lot of that individual one-on-one with you. And then how do you touch people that you've done business with, but you want to be able to do business with them in the future, right? And so it's so crucial. Like if I get a card from someone I've done business with in the past and they follow up with me, and I just think, wow, that was so nice. Today, I want every listener to put a consumer hat on. Don't put your business hat on, put your consumer hat on. How do you want to be treated? I live my life by the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I would never treat someone in a way that they, in a way that I wouldn't want them to treat me. And when people treat me a certain way, that is not in good taste with me, it turns me off. Yeah. And I will never refer that person to another person because I didn't like the way I felt when they treated me that way, right? That just means that person wasn't for me. So let's talk about send out cards, because I got into send out cards and I do them for everything in my business now. Podcast hosts, a lot, all the different things, within my business, birthdays and you name it, it goes on and on. Why send out cards?
It's time effective and it's money effective, cost effective. And it can be individualized and personalized without any extra cost. And so I don't have to, go and add more cost to have it, to make a customized card. It can be done from your phone, from your desktop, from your laptop. It's just easy. And it makes it happen. Whereas the old days, I loved cards. I had a shoebox full of cards, and then it would be a reason to send one. I'd look through my shoebox. Oh, there wasn't the right one. Now I have to go to the store, buy another one, come home, write it, go and get a stamp, send it and mail it. I don't have to do that. I haven't had to do that for years. And yet I'm reaching more people, right? Yeah. With send out cards. So that's why I think. I wanted to just add one more thing to something we were saying, because when I talk to new people, on Zoom, on the phone, whatever, I am in a habit of getting their address. And that's a new habit that people have to think about if they want to send a tangible touch greeting card. And can I tell you a quick story about send out cards? It happened yesterday. A reconnection call with a gentleman that had been on my podcast back in early 2022. And we reconnected from that LinkedIn messaging that had happened. And so we had a call yesterday, and he said, Janice, I have to tell you, he said, I went on a tour this summer of people I hadn't seen for a while. He's starting a nomad life like Kathy Fraser, like a few other people that we know. And he said, I went to Edmonton to visit a mother and daughter, friends of mine, he said, and I go into their house, and the first thing I see in 2 different rooms, there's a card sitting on each coffee table. One is the one I sent to the mother with the picture of her on it, and the other is the one I sent to the daughter. He said, you are so right. I had told him that if you send an unexpected card and you put their photo on it, they'll never throw it away.
That's right.
And they don't. And
no, I have 3 cards sitting right here on my desk with my photo on them that you sent me.
Yeah, they don't send them, they don't throw them away. So
Yeah.
you're always on top of mind, right? So it's a great thing to do. And it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
What else you want to know?
I received one the other day from someone, and it didn't have my photo on it. And I I was kind of disconnected from it. Isn't that weird? I'm so used to getting photos from Send Out Card from all the people in my circle now that usually have my photo in it or photo on it or somewhere. And then my photo wasn't on it. And I was like, it just kind of goes into my bin for my thank you cards that I received from people. But it wasn't anything I displayed. And you're right. Everyone is, whether we believe it or not, we're self-centered, and we want to know what's in it for me. It's just the way we are as humans. And what we've talked about today is how to be a master connector, not only for yourself, because that's that kind of self-centered piece of us, the what's in it for me, but how to be a master connector means that you're connecting other people. And remember, you might connect another person 6 months ago and say, oh, so-and-so, you need to meet so-and-so. And an email goes out and you introduce the 2 of them. And then a year and a half later, because of that one connection you made, 3 other people circled back around to you somehow. And like you said, the reciprocity rule is the rule, the law, right? It must come back in some fashion.
One really important piece that I feel very strongly about when it comes to being a connector, and I don't know if everybody does this, but you probably do. I don't know. With people that I think should be connected, I will not connect them though, even though I've had that conversation and say, Colleen, I think it might be, let me talk to her and see if, she's open to it, because it would be a good connection, I think. But I never just do it without asking the other person.
Okay.
Because I value my connections. I value my database. I'm not just going to waste their time by sending them somebody that I don't know if they want to talk to. Do you know what I mean?
That's a great point.
Actually, someone in your community we had a great conversation. It was our first conversation. I don't know if I can mention, but I love her. Her name is Samantha. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we had a great conversation. And in that conversation, I thought of someone that had been on my podcast that was doing what she wants to do in the arts and entertainment industry. And I thought maybe that would be a good person for her to talk to, but I had to ask that person first. She said, absolutely. And so they connected.
Yeah.
So to me, that's really important because it sets the stage and it shows that, you're not just you're valuing them as well as the other person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Life isn't about how fast we move through it or how fast you move to the next thing. It really is about being purposeful. Mm-hmm. And you can't be a master connector if you're not purposeful. So I really hope that the listeners got so many pieces out of today on the steps that they can take, whether it's, I say start with reconnecting with people that you've already connected with. So through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever your flavor is for social media, connect with the ones you've already been connected with and start yourself a reconnection campaign. And then obviously if you're working on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is an area that you want to fortify a little bit more, that you really want to work on your profile or how to start a reconnection campaign, then Janice Porter is who you're going to want to reach out to. So Janice, why don't you tell our listeners how they can reach you?
Thank you, Colleen. They can reach me at janiceporter.com, janice@janiceporter.com. They can reach me on LinkedIn by, I'm pretty easy to find on there. Tell me that you heard me on Colleen's podcast and let's connect. And on Facebook, I'm mostly in those places. And by the way, I do a birthday campaign through Facebook friends with LinkedIn with Send Out Cards, that's also proving really useful and really good because it's reconnecting with the people I know on Facebook. And I'm doing that through Send Out Cards too. So those things are really good strategies to use if you want to reconnect with people that you already know. And by the way, that's how you build your referral business.
It is. Yeah. It really is. It really is. And we could go in for another half hour talking more about this, but, why don't you just reach out to Janice, schedule a call with her, get to know her a little bit better, see how she can give you some advice on LinkedIn and get a reconnection campaign going for yourself. And for those of you interested, you're like, you talked a lot about the LEAP community today. That's ColleenBiggs.net. You click on community. You can find out all of the perks that you get for visibility, because everything I do is about you being seen, being heard, and being visible. It's all about you. So the what's in it for me is taken care of there. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you this. You're the only you that's ever been. You're still the only you that will ever be. So no one is going to give you permission to have conversations, to connect other people, to reach out, to start a campaign. That has to be you that presses on the gas to say, I want to live my life in such a way where I'm remembered for how I connected other people, for how I treated other people, right? And that's how I want to be remembered. And I know Janice does too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is your day, ladies and gentlemen, for you to make that choice to be a master connector. So Janice, thanks so much for being with us. And to all of you, until next time, be you and be strong. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery, where you learned the tools to create a life by design. Remember, you are the only you there is, and you are the only you that will ever be. Be you and be strong, because you are brilliant, and the world needs you at your best. We cannot wait for you to join us again next time.